The homeless crisis across Portland has seen an increase over the past year, and with an end to the eviction moratorium on the horizon, some fear the problem may soon get much larger. While the impact of the crisis is clear in most parts of the city, there's a portion that remains hidden. Those on the fringe of homelessness who are able to stay in motels but are still facing housing insecurity. They are the topic of this week's Willamette Week cover story. And joining us to talk about it right now is author and Willamette Week reporter Sophie Peel. Thanks so much for being here, Sophie.
Thanks for having me.
Sophie, you visited 3 motels where people facing housing insecurity are being lodged. How did many of them come to stay at these motels?
Yeah, so right when the pandemic hit, the county knew that it needed to put its most vulnerable populations in areas that had more space to socially distance. So they leased out 7 motels over the course of the pandemic and put their most vulnerable populations in those motels. And then as far as kind of the shorter stays that I also talked about in my article, nonprofit county partners sort of use a discretionary pool of funds to place people who are in emergency situations in motels for shorter stays, so like 1 week to a month usually at tops, until they can either find housing, or it also sort of it works as like a last stopgap for the county to prevent someone or a family from becoming homeless. So those are a little bit more I guess those are a little bit more emergency situations, are those shorter stays.
Yeah. How big is this group of Portlanders, Sophie, who don't have a home but aren't on the streets right now?
So the county's number that they normally fall back on is about 4,000 people who are visibly homeless. So our last count was in 2019. We're supposed to do it every 2 years, but because of the pandemic, we forewent this past one in the spring. So our latest count is 4,000. That being said, that only accounts for the people who are, usually in tents, living on the streets, sometimes in their cars. The county has sort of in recent times made a more liberal count, kind of in put more people into their fold of what they considered in imminent danger of homelessness. And that count is more like 16,000.
Most of these motels are happy to have the business amid the pandemic, but may also be impacted once these programs run out. Is that right?
To be quite frank, I did not really think about motel owners that much during the course of this story. That being said, I mean, everyone knows that the hospitality industry was absolutely ravaged by the pandemic. So I'm sure that some of these motel owners were pretty happy to be partnering with the county, who wanted to buy up every single one of their rooms at a time when they were struggling to even get to 50% capacity. As far as what's going to happen, the county can only afford 2 more motels by the end of the year. The other 4 will have to shutter down. So their leases will end. And if those motels are able to, survive off of night by night guests, I don't know.
Sophie, of the people you spoke with, what stood out to you about the impact of these programs?
I think it's a simple concept, and it might sound a little cliche, but honestly, a door. I mean, having a barrier between you and our world in shambles right now, I think means a lot for these people, especially if they're chronically homeless, especially they have children. And, also having that like space of rest and respite that is needed to sort of like get your life in order. I mean, when you're on the streets, you're living it's survival. You're in survival mode, and you don't have the space, you don't have the time to get connected to resources and look for jobs and connect with nonprofits. So I think, these kind of 15 by 15 rooms very much provided like a temporary sense of home for people.
Looks like a good story. Sophie Peel, thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can read the entire article in the latest edition of Willamette Week on newsstands now or online at wweek.com.